Hey friends, welcome back to another Field and Garden podcast featuring Florist Buying Local. Y'all, we have another eye-opening recording with Ellen Frost of Local Color Flowers talking about selling weddings by color and style. And this may not sound such an odd thing to farmer florists and to people that are already using local flowers, but to the traditional florist, this is like, you what? You don't promise specific flowers? So this is a really great eye-opening episode because Ellen really takes you through the process that she has done, y'all, firsthand since 2008. And this just really, not only does this allow you to use what is seasonal and what is looking great that weekend, and you're not tied to any specific flowers, y'all, this feeds your creativity. This is going to bring a part alive in florists and designers that they perhaps have never or for a really long time haven't been able to touch because they've had to like follow this rigid promise that they have made perhaps to the brides and to the folks doing these events. So this recording is from Clubhouse, and I will invite you to take a listen, and then we will come back. So here you go. Enjoy.
All right, let's get started. It's 8 o'clock, and I know everybody has busy days ahead of them with school starting and work starting and more coffee to drink. So let's get started. My name, for those of you who don't know me, is Ellen Frost. I am the owner of Local Color Flowers. We are a floral design studio in Baltimore City, and we source all of our flowers locally. I'm also a course creator for the Gardener's Workshop, and I have a course called Growing Your Business with Local Flower Sourcing. It's a really, I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but it's a really great class. It's offered once a year, and it's a great fit for florists, designers, farmer florists, even farmers who dabble in design and want to sort of take their business to the next level with local flower sourcing. If you're interested in that, you can learn more on the Gardener's Workshop website. And if you want to learn more about what we do here in Baltimore, you can find me on Instagram at Local Color Flowers. And finally, in the last month or so, we have created a dedicated Instagram and Facebook group for florists and designers who want to buy local. You can find it on Instagram at Florist Buying Local Flowers, and our Facebook group is Florist Buying Local. All right. Today we are going to talk about selling weddings by color and style, not by specific flowers. And for some of you, that may be the way that you already do things. And for some of you, it may be a little bit different. So we're going to talk about the process. If you have any questions, we would love to make this conversational. Jesse is going to help me get you in the queue to ask questions, and I hope we can answer questions and really make this more of a conversation, especially since I can't see you and it feels like I'm just talking out into the world. Please ask questions, make comments. And we're just going to go about a half an hour, no later than 8:40, because like I said, we all have things to get going to. All right, so let me get started. We have been selling weddings and events by color and style, not specific flowers, ever since we started our company back in 2008. And this process really allows us to use whatever is in season and looks great that week based on color palette and style. So we are not tied to trying to find a client a specific flower. We are only working within their color palette. And I know that for folks using local flowers, this may sound more familiar, But even more conventional florists who source from wholesalers are rethinking how they book weddings just since COVID. Uh, Florists who were once booking with specific flowers in their contract, like we will make a centerpiece with these 10 flowers, are rethinking that because of all of the global shortages. You can see just if you're watching social media this week, I think it was Mayesh that came out and said, white roses are going to be in very short supply, at least till the end of the year and possibly going forward. So if you didn't promise anyone white roses, then you don't have to stress. But if you promised that, then that might be a more stressful situation for you. So that's why selling by color and style gives us a lot more flexibility. And it also takes the pressure off because we are never sure what um, what a grower's availability is going to be based on weather, based on what they're growing, based on their harvest schedule. And so it takes the pressure off of us. Um, and I know a lot of designers will say this can't work for them, that this style wouldn't work for them because their clients want specific flowers. One of our designers here in our region posted that on Instagram the other day, and I said, well, what flowers are they looking for specifically? And they said roses and peonies. And, that's obvious because everybody loves roses and peonies. Um, but I think that you can, at least for us, we would say that maybe those people were not the best fit for us because we really want to stick within a local flower framework. And so if somebody really wanted a specific flower, like it's going to ruin my wedding if I don't have this flower, they just would not be a good fit for us. And we would refer them to a florist that would be a better fit for them. And of course, it's terribly hard to turn away work. It's much easier in our brains to think, how can I fit myself into what this person wants, or how can I accommodate them? But it's in those situations where we get frustrated, we get stressed, and when it comes down to the wire, we really can drive ourselves crazy trying to find flowers out of season, find flowers during pandemic shortages. Um, and so for us, we trusted, even from the beginning, that there were clients out there that would embrace our model. And they did, and they do. We just needed to figure out how to get the message out and how to market it right so that we attracted the right types of people, the people that would love our model and embrace our model and be super happy with that model. And for us, it's all about managing expectations right from the beginning. So we start by first putting on our website. So a lot of times that's somebody's first interaction with our company. We have verbiage on the website that says we're not a traditional florist. We use only locally grown and seasonal flowers. We cannot promise to provide a specific variety of flowers for your wedding or event, but we can work within your color palette and style. And so, right from the beginning, we let people know we can't promise a certain type of flower. We also share with them Pinterest boards. We have tons of Pinterest boards, and we really use Pinterest as a tool to sell what our model is. So, we have boards that are arranged by month to show people what flowers could be available that month. We also show examples of both bouquets and centerpieces that were made in the month and in the season that those people are looking for. So you can look at the fall bouquets, you can look at fall centerpieces, you can look at October flowers. So you have a sense of what we've done in the past, maybe in your color palette or at your venue. And I think that this really helps people get a visual on what is available. Um, we also ask for inspiration photos from our potential clients or our clients. That way we can see some of the things that they like And we have really become masters at translating a photo of more conventionally sourced flowers or flowers that are out of season for us and translating them to a local flower palette. So if they have roses, we might use Lysianthus, or if they're using sunflowers, maybe we're using Rudbeckia. Um, so maybe that's like a way to translate a inspiration picture to a local flower design. Does that make sense? Um, we also are really, we have gotten really good at selling the model. So when we are meeting with a client for a consultation, we always put a positive spin on them not being able to choose certain flowers. So we will always say, even though you don't get to choose certain flowers, and really you don't get to even know what the flowers are going to be until I show up at the wedding, um, we are making you a one of a kind design. We have never made the same thing twice. This design is just for you based on the things that are available this week. It also reflects what's happening in nature in our region on that day. So, on your most special day, these flowers really reflect what the season is and what's happening on the day you're getting married. Which I think people, if you're attracting the right people, they will really appreciate that message. Um, and then we also share reviews with potential clients so that they can see what other people thought of the process. And we have, I don't know, 160 reviews on Wedding Wire. All, I think it's 4.9 stars is the average. People are pretty great at sharing how they liked the process. And many of the things that come up sort of over and over are um, I loved that I didn't have the pressure of choosing the flowers myself since I didn't know a lot about flowers. I appreciated leaving the design process up to the experts. I was happy to share some insight on what I liked, color, style, and some pictures, and let the local Color Flowers team do what they do best, which is design something with local flowers that fit the vision. And there's even lots of people on our reviews that say, I wasn't sure about this model. I was a little nervous. I was a little concerned. And mostly those are mothers of the bride or it's usually not the couple themselves. But that's also good to use because if there is somebody who's like, I'm not sure about that, is that a weird model? They can see some reviews that show that other people were not sure and then they ended up loving it. So I guess once we figure out that people are a good fit and they book with us, then we work with the growers to choose flowers in the color palette that the client has requested. And because we are not tied to a specific flower, we have a lot more flexibility. So, like last week, we had somebody that wanted blush dahlias, and we tried to get a lot of cafe au laits, which we did, but we were also able to get lots of other blush in different shapes and different sizes that fit the bill for what we were looking for. Um, so it allowed us to not be stressed if somebody didn't have cafe au laits, especially last week in our region. We had the bad weather from the hurricane. We had a lot of farms with damage. And it gave us some peace of mind that we knew that there would be something in blush. We didn't have to stress that the cafe au laits had been, flattened by the storm. And I guess before I take some questions, I would also say that there's probably people that are listening that are like, well, how do you manage pricing? How do you estimate pricing if you don't know what flowers you're using? So for us, we use a per stem average cost. And so I know somebody in our Facebook group, I think, asked this the other day because they said, how do I make a budget if I'm not sure what the flowers are? And that is tricky. That's different than using a wholesaler where you can see the prices well in advance. Um, so for us, we do a couple things. We use a per stem average cost. So at the beginning of the year and in the middle of the year, we do an average stem cost. We take a look at every grower and every thing that they're selling, and we pick a couple foliages, a couple filler flowers, and a couple focal flowers. And we come up with the average cost of those. And then we use that average as our budgeting tool. On occasion, we will also use last year's availability lists or earlier availability lists to see what pricing looks like. So the per stem average cost seems to work well for us. We have not had really any problems with it. All right, so that's a lot of talking from Ellen. I would love to hear if anyone has any questions or comments about our process. Like I said, it works for us, and if it can work for you, we'd love to help make that work. So let's hear from you all.
And if it's okay, I just want to take a second to let people know there's a couple of different ways that they can ask questions.
Great.
So hopefully everybody knows about raising your hand and being able to come up and to the stage and ask questions. And we love it when people do that, and we welcome that for sure. And then there's another way to ask questions if you're not able to speak at the moment or just don't want to for any reason. You can also send me a text message inside the app and with your question, and then I can ask it on your behalf. It's a feature called Back Channel. And if you look at the bottom right corner of your screen, there's a little icon that looks like a paper airplane. And if you press that, you can go to the next page, which allows you to search for my name. You can type in Jessie, just like it shows up right now. And from there, you should be able to send me a question. So you're, of course, welcome to do that as well. Just a quick to let you know that we are actually recording this chat just in case there's an opportunity to make this available later for any folks who are not on Clubhouse. So if you do come up and raise your hand and come up and ask a question, that's just to let you know that we are recording that. Also, I wanted to just give a quick note to anyone that isn't familiar, but at the very top of the chat here where it says Florist Buying Local, right next to that, there's a little green house icon. And if you press that, then you can go to Ellen's club that she has set up for these chats. And if you join that club, then each time she creates a new chat, you'll be notified and you'll have the opportunity to add that to your calendar if you want. So I thank everyone for being here this morning, and please send me your questions. Thank you.
All right, folks, let's hear questions, comments, anything about the process. Does it sound crazy to you? Does it seem like something that you could work with? If you're a farmer listening, does it make sense for you from the farmer side to work with a florist in this way? Let me hear your questions or your comments.
Well, I thought I might bring one up
Sure.
that I've heard before, and it's kind of related to the availability question and how far out you can know what you might have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work in terms of, communicating between the farmer and florist about that sort of thing? Because I know usually there's, a lot of lead time that's needed.
So our growers don't send availability list until about a week before they're going to deliver, and that is about a week and a half before the wedding. So like we will get availability lists today, which is Tuesday, for delivery next Tuesday, for weddings that are next Saturday. So that's about a 10-day or 11-day lead time. And we don't know exactly what's going to be available until then. And so I know for a lot of traditional florists or florists who are buying from a wholesaler, that may seem like not a lot of time to get your orders in. And certainly in the beginning, um, like when we first started, I was very nervous because we only had a few growers. I never knew what was going to be available. I didn't have a good sense of seasonality and availability, and I was just always worried. And the way that we sort of combated that, and now I mostly don't worry, is that we first tried to get as many growers in our pool as we could so that we knew we had lots of options of growers to buy from. And the second is that we became experts at understanding seasonality and understanding what's available in our region and understanding um, right, availability. So like when I began this journey 15 years ago, I really knew very little about flowers. I certainly didn't know anything about seasonality or availability. I really could probably only name like 5 flowers. Um, and so did I know when Lysianthus was going to be available in Zone 7A? I didn't even know what Lysianthus was. Um, and so I had to educate myself and get really become expert in availability. So, for this week, we are making our orders for next week's weddings, and we have one wedding that's purple and yellow. And so, even before seeing the availability list, I have a sense of some things that might be available: celotias, zinnias, dahlias, sunflowers, rudbeckias. I know in purple there's probably going to be ageratum and maybe lisianthus and maybe scabiosa. I have some sense of that. And I also have been working with these growers every week for many years. So I have a sense of what's available. And so I would just say, right, we are not ordering until about 10 or 11 days out from a wedding. So next week we have 3 events, one corporate event and 2 weddings. We have just started placing orders for those events today. Um, and because our growers send their availability lists out on different days, we have some that send it out today, some that send it out tomorrow. I'm sort of progressively building my order over the week to make sure that we have everything we need. So I'm not sure if that helps, but for sure it is a different ordering process than if you are ordering from a wholesaler.
Okay, I do have a question that came in on the back channel if you'd like that one.
Sure.
Okay, this is from Adrian, and Adrian says, what do you do during the winter time when availability, like color options and such, are a bit limited?
Yeah, great question. So a couple things. We really limit what we take for weddings during the winter. So if a client comes to us and they want a December wedding and it's winter themed and they want evergreens and they want berries and they want, things that are available, we'll definitely take it because I have a sense of what's available. If somebody wants a wedding in February and they want, it's a large wedding, so size also plays into what weddings we take in the winter. If it's a large wedding and they want, I don't know, blushes and pinks and they want um, a lot of foliage that is not evergreen foliage, we probably would turn it down. Again, we are not trying to get ourselves in a position where we promise something that we cannot make available. That's also to say that we have worked, and I'm happy to do, if people are interested in this, a clubhouse just on winter growing or winter sourcing. We have worked for the last, I would say, 8 years on developing winter growers in our region. And so when we maybe we're about 5 or 6 years into the business, and it was really just a seasonal business. It was like May to October. But I wanted to quit my day job and I wanted to do this full time, and I knew that I had to figure out what to do in the winter if I was going to do that. And so it was at that time that we started really searching out winter growers and helping to develop winter growers in our region. And so after, it's been 8, 9, 10 years of doing that, we have a really good core group of, I would say, I don't know, 6 or 8 or 10 growers that grow in the winter and have a huge variety of stuff. We have a grower in Pennsylvania who basically has everything that's available in the spring, but available earlier in the winter. And so while we definitely don't have the numbers, so that's why I say like we can't take a huge wedding at that time. We also have weekly stuff that we do, so we have to just manage being able to have enough flowers for everything we do. Um, so yeah, we just really limit what weddings and events we take during the winter to make sure that we don't overextend ourselves. And there's just like a lot of unpredictability in the winter, much more so than during the season. But we have enough available to do our weekly stuff and to do retail sales on the weekends and to do some events and certainly holidays like Valentine's Day. And if there's anybody here listening that sells weddings and events like this, feel free to comment because I'd love to hear like how you all do it. We have been, like I said, the work that we do, the work we do on the front end really sets us up for success with our clients. I think early on, when we were not as good at saying no to things that were not a good fit for us, we probably did have clients that were disappointed or clients that just were not as confident in the process as we would like them to be. So we've worked really hard to manage the process right from the beginning to make sure that our customers are comfortable, excited, they understand the process. And we really take them along, I think, on a journey. We tell them all about the growers. We are sharing photos and videos with them of the farms where the flowers are coming from. So they really feel part of the process and feel, I think, really connected to what we're offering, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. Any other comments, questions before we head out for our day today?
I'm not seeing anything additional on the back channel this time.
Okay, so thanks everybody for joining in. It was great to have you here. Thanks for getting up early and listening in. If you have any topics that you'd like us to talk about on future Tuesdays, you can feel free to Instagram message me at Local Color Flowers or at Florist Buying Local Flowers. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. And we'll be back here again next Tuesday at 8. I hope you'll join us and tell a friend to join in. We're looking forward to seeing you then, or I guess talking to you then, not seeing you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Good luck on all your designing and your flowering, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
So, folks, I hope that this is helping many of us to see that this actual model that Ellen has followed and teaches is really not only just the right thing to do, right? I mean, buying local is always the right thing to do because it just has less of a footprint, right? Put all that aside. This current situation that we are in now, where the global supply is disrupted, florists are really facing up against the wall of not being able to get what they have ordered perhaps months and months ago and have promised contractually to their clients specific flowers. This model opens the door to taking the pressure off, to be able to be more artistic, to be more creative, and During these days of shortages, and as Ellen mentioned in the recording, um, even me as a flower farmer has been seeing some of the wholesale houses posted on social media that certain things are going to be in short supply for some time to come. This method is the perfect fit to help relieve people. And Ellen can take you down that pathway. So, folks, this is the way to find your people, to build your business, to take the pressure off. And I'm hoping you're sharing these with your commercial customers because it can really help them a great deal. So, folks, down below in the show notes are all of the social media links, the link to Ellen's course. If that interests you, it always registers in November each year. It only opens up once a year. And we invite you to check it out and to check out Local Color Flowers, her website. See how she offers it to people, how she starts that vetting right on our website. Walk through it. All right, friends, till we meet again.